Welcome back. If you're just joining, you're watching Daybreak on Trust TV. We're now in the newspaper review segment of the program, and of course I have a copy of the Daily Trust newspaper. We start with the lead story on the Daily Trust. Palliative. Rice price spikes as federal government states suppliers mop up markets. A couple of riders there. 50 kg bags records 10,000 naira increase in 10 days. Our suppliers depleted by high demand, according to traders. Inadequate paddy, poor yield responsible, that's according to millers. And also prime anchors shortchanged government, according to Afan. Our presidency, Nema, mom. Also, below the pictorial there of different bags of rice, beans and other food items, we see Niger coup. Tinubu asks Sultan to return to Niamey. Beneath that, we see federal government shorts Lagos Airport Old Terminal, October 1st. Suspends Nigeria Air. BUA group to increase cement production. And finally, job racketeering. Poly rectors deny bribing reps panel as committee threatens legal action. You can get that story on page 11, and as well as grab a copy of the Daily Trust newspaper to get updates on some of the stories that have led the paper this morning.
All right, let's move to the Vanguard newspaper this morning. From the top of the page there, it says extortion. Truckers pay 40 million naira daily at Lagos Port Corridor. Poor governance responsible for banditry, kidnapping in Northwest, according to Shatima. Danger as bandits vandalize Makurdi power pylon. We have hardship with patience, determination. We will succeed. That's according to the president. Tinubu says the bitter pill must be administered to build a better future for Nigeria. The major story says coup scare, sit tight, leaders move against their military, okay. And we were talking about the Rwanda retirees retiring about 12 generals, over 800 other ranks, and Cameroon reshuffles the military, work on response to the Gabon military coup. And there's a lot of riders there, but below that is a pictorial of President Tinubu receiving Jim Ovia. Where federal government established mobile courts on FGM, sexual harassment in schools and others. That's according to the minister. 25th anniversary, our 16th year in power, Nigeria's golden era that PDP boasts. Okay. Besides that, we'll see the federal government shorts MMIA October 1st halts Nigeria Airport project. Nigeria UN sign MOUs to tackle terrorism. At the bottom, we've got scarcity. NNPC directs marketers to Pinnacle as pipelines under repair. That's according to the IPMAN. We have Lukaku joins Roma on season-long loan. You find this on the sports segment. Now, these are some of the stories on the Vanguard this morning.
Government's hammer to fall on illegal miners, says minister. That story can be found atop the page of the Nation newspaper. Also, APC suspends ex-speaker, ex-SSG, 26 others in Osun State. You want to know why? Well, it's on page 5 of the Nation, 25 rather, on the Nation newspaper. Edu, 15 million indigents to get federal government's cash transfer. Akeredolu returns soon, says Ondo government. Page 6 and pages 25 respectively on the Nation. And for the lead story, federal government halts Nigeria Air. Airport concession suspended. Foreign airlines to operate from new terminal in Lagos from October 1. And here are some of the highlights. Nigeria Air project put on hold. Concession of Lagos Abuja Airport to wait. Closure of old terminal at MMIA October 1. Foreign airlines to fly from new terminal on October 1st. And removal of disused aircraft in 90 days. These are some of the highlights. Also, Tinubu to deliver Nigeria's statement at Onga on September 19. That story is on page 5. Also, AU suspends Gabon. Cameroon, Rwanda rejig military. Tinubu, Niger junta can quit within 1 year. And at the bottom of the page, more protests over NDDC board. Federal government plans Lagos Abuja highway, says Umahi. These are some of the stories on the Nation newspaper. Grab a copy to read more.
Right, we'll move to the business day this morning. From the top there, it says Nigerian Airlines push for international flight faces snags. The lead story says Naira back in free fall as $3 billion. The Afrexim Bank loan stalls. Beside that, we'll see multipolar world, the BRICS versus G7, spurring return of African coups. Industry leaders seek end to building collapse in Nigeria. And realtors explain why luxury rental market is slowing down. And these are some of the stories on Business Day page.
And on The Guardian this morning, Minister orders relocation of foreign airlines to new Lagos Airport Terminal. That story can be found on page 3. Democracy without elections, that's a big story on pages 4 and 5. How emperor governors, ad hoc administrators, collapse grassroots governance in 238 local councils. Interesting. Also, after 244 years of reign, sit tight African leaders review security architecture. Beside that, we see CBN banks investigate suspected $1 billion currency counterfeiting. That story is on the business page on page 18 of The Guardian. Also, revenue falls by 23% as federal, state, local governments share 4.37 trillion naira. And finally, on the belt, 2,588 children sexually, emotionally abused in 12 months, says Lagos government. These are some of the stories on The Guardian newspaper this morning. And now we're joined by Nuruddin Abdullah, the editor at 21st Century Chronicle. He'll be joining us this morning to do a review on some of the headlines and national dailies here with us in the studio. Welcome to the program, Nuruddin. And how much is a bag of rice in your area?
In Abuja, in Kano,
did he get the palliative?
Maybe he did. Because, when he came into the studio, he was smelling like fresh meat. So maybe he got the palliative and he's adorning white.
No, I saw a sort of a truck down the Daily Trust, Trust TV.
Perhaps you brought it.
So I was even watching it. Maybe whether they are taking them.
So let's talk about rice. It's now scarce. It's looking like the 5 billion naira palliative that was meant to be distributed across the 36 states is now causing sort of a problem because, the lead story on the Daily Trust newspaper now states that 50 kg bag has recorded a 10,000 naira increase. What's the situation?
Yeah, the situation is bad. And maybe the Tinubu's palliative only added salt to already injury, because I remember about 2 weeks ago in Kaduna, the foreign one goes for about 50,000.
Wow.
Yeah, it has been 40, 42, 43 for a very long time. But and coupled with other factors, the resurgence of banditry in some parts of the agrarian parts of the north is a factor too. The flooding last year, mass flooding, the Jigawa area, paddy was swept away and whatever. All this added up. And maybe, again, the man has to open the border and bring the rice. That's another option, because the local production cannot meet up with the demand. Even though people
so
don't
what
have
happens
money.
to eat what you grow and grow what you eat?
And I remember, last week, a governor actually called the attention, saying that the palliative, giving the state government money to actually get this rice would actually it would hike the price. So I think one of the northern governors warned, at this moment, I can't remember which, but he warned against that.
Very correct. The forces of demand and supply. You understand. And the government will deal with merchants, Some have been hoarding this stuff.
Yes, indeed.
So now it's a very good opportunity to mop up, like you reported, so that, the price will go up. And, because the palliative is now sort of a political instrument, every governor wants to see sharing 100,000. I think they were giving 5 trucks per state.
Yes, indeed. 5 trucks.
So even though that sounds ridiculous, I don't know.
Indeed, because, 5 trucks should have around 600 bags. Sorry, a truck should have around 600 bags times 5. That's around 3,000
It will
bags.
feed just, say, a family, like an extended, you know, a very large family in a village.
So in Kaduna is a state with about maybe 10 million people across 23 local governments. Or Kano, almost now 15 or even more, you know, or even the federal capital. So I don't know, and like I said, I think some previous week, how sustainable is this? Okay, after this, is it the first tranche of the palliative? Or what happens? Because the prices of the fuel price will not go down. So what happened next? And another thing is this, you know, the resurgence of bandit activities across Niger, some part of Kaduna, Katsina, Zamfara, you know, these are the agrarian areas, the food basket of the north in particular. So people cannot even go to farm. Or now they have managed to maybe, in some cases, like in Zamfara, Sokoto, Kebbi, you know, you have to pay the bandits to be allowed to go and farm. And now it is the harvesting season, you have to equally pay them to go and harvest. But somewhere, even totally, even mass dislocation and movement. Go to the Mashegu area, the Shiroro area, whatever. Nobody now is even talking about going to farm to harvest what was planted, because people are running for their dear lives. So it will actually impact negatively on your food ecosystem. And I think that is what the governors in particular should look into. Because if not, there will be hunger in the land.
And let's not forget, you know, because we saw in one of our package this morning, we saw a beneficiary saying they should continue, it shouldn't stop here. So there is much expectation, like you give people one bag, then what? What happened next?
How a family of, let's say 5, the husband, his wife, and 3 kids, a bag of rice, for how long will it take them?
And the people that this household, because the government already promised not to give every household. So the ones that the government think they can afford it, now the price is hike.
So it has raised the bar a bit higher again for those who could have been able to afford it.
Locally, even the one you produce locally, the one with the stones, you know, and whatever, you know, this local major they use, how much? It goes for about 1,500.
Now, at the last I checked, it was around 1,300 naira. In fact, at that time, the foreign rice was not even available at the market. And so now here we are. The price
don't even go to the rice. Rice is for the elites, maybe the people like you, Abuja, like,
of course, like you, because I knew it was going to say me, so I just quickly had to mention that.
The grain flour, the maize flour.
Maize flour.
It goes for about 1,500 now. And you know, in Kaduna, I saw it. It's so ridiculous. People are even buying 1 cup. You know this tin milk?
Yes.
1 cup. Quarter of that. So I was just, it was, I don't know, I've never seen that, but it was so touching, you know. I asked, how are they going to do it? He said, no, they are no longer to do the normal tour that, no, they will just do some, you see, it was so touching, you know.
So it's up to the women, you know, to create ways, means to just have a way to feed the family. And we've seen a lot of reports of women, you know, the ones that have capable, not so capable husbands and other widows crying out on this particular situation in the country. It's so sad on that one. Okay, away from that now, let's talk about, you know, the Niger and ECOWAS, you know, should I say intervention or yes, peace talk. I mean, we've seen the president now saying that he wants the Sultan to go back again to the Niger juntas. And these juntas already, I don't feel like they're backing down, considering there is more news of coup, you know, also in the African region. So what do you think at this point, you know, the government needs to do, or should I say the ECOWAS and the president? I
think I will add to that because, I mean, we saw what happened in Cameroon and Rwanda. So what is going on? Is it that they are beginning to get the scope of what's going on? And why the sudden fear and the sudden need to all of a sudden reshuffle, you know, military structures as it is?
Maybe for the obvious reasons. Biya has been there for 42 years now. 42 years now. And he's over 90. That's the Cameroon dictator.
President, yeah.
The democratic
Rwanda
dictator, the democratic dictator, President Kagame, has been there for 24 years now, right?
Since
From 1994. And you know, in his own case, excuse me, we are discussing it. We thought that he's a former rebel leader. You know, he marched through Kigali and took over power. So why is he afraid of? And you look at his own is massive. More than nearly 1,000 officers and men.
Over 900.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. It signifies one thing. Forget about democracy as the best form of government. No. What do I get as a citizen under a democratic dispensation? That is it. Why the celebration in Libreville and other cities in Gabon? They are happy because they ended a 53 years old dynasty, Bongo dynasty, from father to son.
But some are saying now, because, I mean, yes, the head of the presidential palace guard took over. However, he's his cousin.
Yes, but do you know something? At least the name of Bongo, maybe, you know, Bongo is weak and partially paralyzed. His son, maybe he was even grooming his son to take over. So from the father, son, and the grandson. And that's why people are happy. Is democracy bringing food to the people's table? Is it securing their lives? How about rule of law?
But then again, I want to ask this question.
We should consider this. It is not the system, democracy, whatever. These are the, if we have a civilian administration that doesn't guarantee all this, then what the hell, it should just give way.
Okay,
and that's what is happening in Africa.
So the reshuffling of the military ranks by this head of state, of course, signifies fear of some sort. You could also qualify it to be whatever. However, is it okay to celebrate? Isn't it too early to celebrate? Because if you look at it this way, the military dictatorship or the military junta who are currently leading these African nations, be it Gabon, be it Mali, be it Burkina Faso, or Niger, as it is at this current moment, do not really have a mechanism for checks and balances. So aren't the people still playing, or aren't the people still being played as it is currently? Because it's not yet uhuru for them, and at the end of the day, democracy still is the best chance for them to get the dividends of government and governance.
That's correct. But don't forget that a droning man will clutch into anything, including a sword or dagger.
Unfortunately, that's the case.
That's what is happening.
African Union, in particular, and all the other sub-regional blocks, ECOWAS, Commercio, SADC, you know, all these things, they have a political peer review mechanism. Bongo, partially paralyzed, has gone for a third term. He banned international observers.
Shut down the internet.
Shut down the internet.
Unfortunately, he told us to make
And you tell me that the people will not celebrate when this man is booted out? And look at him. Shamelessly, I'm calling my friends and what have you to make noise. You can see, that is one. And secondly, all this from Mali, it started in Sudan. Yeah, twice in Sudan, General Borham is there, and you see what the country has been degenerated into. We saw what happened in Mali. General Goita is there. We saw what happened in Burkina. We have Ibrahim Traoré. We have Mamadi Doumbouya in Guinea. We have Abdurrahman Chani, and now we have General Bryce in Guema. You know, look at the psyche of Africans. The civil society is now more proactive than ever. The social media has added the electorate who have been taken for granted for decades in most of these countries. Now they have a voice. With what happened in Gabon, with what happened in Niger, with what happened in Guinea, Burkina, Mali,
Sudan.
the citizens now have a voice. So if they like, let Chani Nguema follow the footpath of Bongo, for instance, he'll be booted out. So that is just the scenario. It is, and again, for Kagame, Rwanda, for the old man in Cameroon, it is not changing the military matters. Let me give you a scenario. When Gowon came to power after the Civil War in 1966, before the Civil War in 1967, yeah, he was from a minority group, you remember?
Yes.
And there was that fear, particularly with the way General Ironsi was overthrew. You know, he was not surrounded, he was surrounded by the big tribes, the big three. So that was why Obasanjo said in his book that some officers from Anga's ethnic extraction were promoted and were given positions around the president. But what happened later, 8 years or 9 years after? The commander of the Brigade of Guard in charge of Gowon security is from Plateau, Angas. In fact, they said that they are being related.
Yeah, here was his cousin.
I mean, netizens on social media actually said, they said most times coups are done by younger soldiers. So if you're booting out those ones, you should keep an eye on the others.
Irrespective of your relationship with him, look at Congo, look at Gabon. You said that Nguema is related to Bongo, but that doesn't stop. They say that he's corrupt and whatever, but you know, this guy is even more corrupt. He's eating, why can't I eat?
So let's veer off from mutiny in these African countries and let's focus on mutiny somewhere else. So the Minister of Aviation has suspended the Nigeria Air. I mean, I was thinking that you would fly one day, but then, you know, here we are. You know, we spoke about this, you know, some time ago. Remember, we were here in the studio, and he had so much hopes for that project, but then here we are. New minister, new situation, no more Nigeria Air.
Yes, the Nigeria Air, you know, it was not meant to fly in the first place.
Okay.
For obvious reasons. Look at the trend. You know, look at the trend. It was clear. You hired, then the outgoing minister hired Ethiopia Airline plane, painted it. Is it for 48 hours or 24 hours?
I think it was around 48.
She unveiled it at the last hours, official hours as minister, because he did it on Friday. You understand, when he was leaving
the
office.
Federal Executive Council.
And you see what happened. From the road show in London, how much taxpayers' money was expended. From the design of that logo, I'm not a creative, maybe manager, creative design, Mr. Gaden will laugh. I'm not a creative person, but I can design that logo better.
Oh, wow.
I can design a better
Okay.
logo. How much we spend it on it?
Okay.
The consultancy, the hiring, and what have you. This is a real fraud and a slide on the face of Nigerians. So what Kayamo did is the best for all Nigerians, maybe minus Buhari and Sirika, because they know it's a fraud. And look at it, in the industry itself. Yeah, Ethiopia Airlines is getting the high stake and what have you, but the thing was not transparently done. He did not consult. He was even denying that it wasn't the Minister of Aviation that organized that unveiling. Whereas it was fact-checked and it was found out that it indeed organized that and out of you. So what Kayamo did is the best, is in the best interest of the country. If at all we need a national carrier, then it should be done transparently without cutting corners and what have you. If at all we need it. Because I don't want a situation whereby you have the Nigerian Air, a wife of the minister can delay the flight for 5 hours, like it used to be. What killed Nigerian Airways? government officials. A son of the governor or a son of the minister or president can delay a flight. Yes, that's what killed Nigeria Airways. So do we actually need it? We can't just, other countries are doing it better. Exactly. But they are not, a minister cannot delay a flight. Even in Ethiopia, or even Zimbabwe. I'm not looking down on those countries. But it happened here. Even commercial flights, privately owned, are being delayed by government officials. The fact remains that government has no business in business. And I hope President Tinubu will look into that. There are certain things that government has no business with. Look at the railway. We brought the Chinese, they expended money and what have you. We can't even run it.
Effectively.
We can't even run it. Give it to the private sector. They should, Mr. Tinubu should do, first and foremost, amend the Nigerian Railway Act of 1956.
So there's been no review since then?
1956. I was complaining of the services. My younger brother would draw my attention. He said, yeah, don't complain because, you are being ferried on this train according to the letters and spirit of Nigerian Railway Act of 1956. Give it to the private sector. Let it be a regulator. NRC should be a regulator. In fact, the government going further should concentrate on building tracks.
Nigerian Railway, the Nigerian government has no business running.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. And I hope Mr. President will take that very seriously.
But for now, it's just about it's suspended. That's what they use. It's only suspended, so it could be brought back. We could hear another story again.
Well, we'll wait for it to be brought back. Maybe then we'll come back next time to have this conversation. Mr. Nuruddin Abdullah, editor, 21st Century Chronicle. I want to thank you so much for always honoring our invitation and for the conversation this morning. And we do hope that maybe on your way out, you will get your palliative and you will share with us.
You'll escort me, please.
Okay.